So we're back with Lou at the other end of the race. Chris Lewis is with us, the winning navigator of LawConnect for the second year in a row, which is fantastic. That was a hell of a race. What were the sort of highlights for you as navigator?
Finishing, that's pretty high on the list. Starting,
yes,
that's also pretty high on the list.
Getting out first out of the harbour.
Yeah. That's pretty special. You know, the Sydney Harbour for this race is just crazy. So yeah, super fun. And everything in between. It was a really interesting race, and we had talked about some of the preparation, and you know, it really unfolded the way we talked about in your prior interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you were talking about getting thrown around in the nav desk a little bit on that first night. You were, doing mid-30s, yeah?
Yeah, we were fully wicked up. I mean, it was full throttle. I mean, just the boat was flying. And
water all across the deck the whole time.
Yeah. And I mean, with the... You know, we have a nav station, and there's essentially like 3 desks. It's pretty comfy. And the left one is for the media, and I can see the live stream myself. And so I was just mesmerized watching the spray. And, you know, the thing that I kept reminding myself is, like, sometimes the camera would get buried, and it's way back here. I mean, it's a 100-foot boat, and pretty much 85 feet of the boat was covered with water all the way up, however tall that is, like 8 feet up in the air. And it's just spectacular. And then the drone went up. And
the drone went up?
Yeah. And Dylan Clark.
Of course, because he's a professional drone pilot.
Yeah. And it was just mesmerizing. Wow. Like, I just couldn't believe, like, the boat was just magnificent, like crashing through all these waves. And you know, it was really interesting looking from the outside in, because like I remember one huge wave that we were just absolutely screaming along, and the front of the boat was fully out of the water, the middle of the boat was on top of the wave, and the back of the boat was out of the water. It was like, God, it was just incredible. Some really cool footage, and like when it swooped around the front.
We're looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Tony was saying that one of the critical pieces, obviously, is just managing jibes in those conditions. So 5 jibes. Is your job partly to just minimise the number of those? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I remember Nico saying, you know, we still got to take our shots and reel Comanche in, and so we made a couple of smart jibes, and we were on top of them. And so that felt kind of good. And so at the end of the day, you're still racing, and so you got to change direction and try and make the most of the wind and the current and the wind shifts. And so that's what we did.
And you were well positioned then for that westerly when that came in. So because you were talking about that before, about being in the right spot, you were sort of where you wanted to be.
Yeah. I mean, we spent a lot of time, and you know, there was kind of a needle to thread between 2 different eddy systems of current and the breeze, and it's a very, very complicated picture, and so a lot to noodle on and to talk about amongst the team.
One last one. We were watching you going into that sort of amoeba-like hole off, was it Shooten Island or somewhere there, sort of off the Tassie coast there, and you dropped a fair bit of speed there. Were you just finding a little sort of narrow route to get through that? Or was it reasonably straightforward?
I mean, we were trying to wiggle through there for sure.
Because you did, I think, 3 or 4 tacks there, didn't you? You actually were going upwind for a while.
Well, the wind was coming from every direction, because, you know, it kind of comes around the island and it swirls back. And you know, part of it, too, was, you know, from basically the Bass Strait onwards, we were really trying to protect the boat and protect the people on the boat. And make sure we finished. And so we really throttled back in order to just finish. And you know, we weren't trying to win on corrected time or something where you're trying to eke out every inch. And Celestial, you know, watching them, they've sailed a fantastic race. I mean, I don't know whether they're going to win or not, but we were sure watching them. And so we wanted to stay in front of them. And so part of why we ended up there was just to cover them, stay between them.
That's actually a tactical decision.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's part of the discussion that we have on the boat. Like, it wasn't A, B, maybe it was C option, the way to handle that. But at the same time, nothing's certain in sailing, and so I didn't want to let them have, an avenue and then have it work and then feel real stupid and have them steal our lunch.
Take a bit of the pain knowing you're just staying between them and the finish.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fantastic watching you come up the river there because you're just straight lining it. It looked fantastic.
Yeah. It was like a miracle. We seemed to hit all the shifts, and it was just like, it was like they were making the road in front of us, and we just kind of waltzed in and nailed it.
Slightly different from last year.
Yeah.
And we noticed on one of our posts, I was talking about it actually, as we were doing the live stream coming in, and we said, Chris Sheehan from Warrior One had said, go Lou, go LawConnect. Could you get a slightly bigger bracket there, though? And you certainly got that.
Yeah, well, Chris Sheehan is not only a great sailor, he's a great human being, the sailing world's lucky to have people like him, because he's a very special person and a very special program. It was one of the highlights of not just my sailing but my life to be a part of the Warrior One program.
Yeah. Great. We're going to leave you to go and do celebrations. Obviously, a pretty somber mood, which is very sad. But congratulations, Lou. That's a really excellent result. Seeing you here for the second time. It's as Tony described it, it's a battleship. That thing, it really is, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think he stole that expression from me because everybody talks about how Comanche's 4 tons heavier. I thought maybe this is a forecast where you want 4 tons of battleship, because this thing is indestructible. In fact, I was reminded of that when in the Solus Big Boat Challenge, we were parked at the Woolwich dock, and Wild Oats was pulling in reverse. And Mark Richards, I'm sitting there watching him thinking, man, I could never do that. That guy is so good. And I jinxed him in my mind, and the bowsprit hit the back of our boat. And he came running over to make good on it. And Tony, with the greatest sense of humor there is, said, look, if you can find a scratch, you can fix it. But that's kind of the LawConnect thing. The thing is a beast. And so it was nice to be riding a beast this particular race.
Absolutely. Well done. Look forward to catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers, great seeing you and Dale.